I mean, if I can go to you in Washington, if we've already chosen a side, has the West already chosen a side, and it's incumbent upon the West now, because it has chosen a side, to start making sure its guys on the ground win. I mean, this is the slippery slope that we were all worried about, and it seems to be playing out right in front of our eyes.
Yes, and it's happened time and again. And we haven't been too successful in the past in arming rebel movements. Remember Angola, remember Nicaragua. Remember the worst case was when it seemed like a great idea to arm the Mujahideen against the Soviet Union during the Cold War. And look what we got. We got the only threat to the U.S. homeland since the War of 1812. So I think we really have to be careful about unintended consequences. And certainly I wish the rebels well, but I think your other guest, he made a good point. If they have the money to buy the weapons, I don't mind them buying them, but I don't want the U.S. Getting too involved in on-the-ground training and that sort of thing, because I just don't. And of course, there's a doubt about whether the rebels are competent enough to use these weapons. They don't have very good leadership. They don't have very good tactics, and they don't even really know how to use simple weaponry. So I'm not sure, how they get the training, but they can purchase training overseas from countries that are willing to sell them the weapons. But I don't really want to see the United States get involved, because I don't think U.S. vital interest is involved here, and I think we need to be careful. And as far as humanitarian goes, in Kosovo, we started bombing for humanitarian reasons. There was limited ethnic cleansing, and of course, after we started bombing, the regime had nothing to lose, so it just went whole hog. And I think that the same thing could happen here. Yeah. And we may face a stalemate. All Gaddafi has to do is keep tanks in the major cities. How are these rebels going to get them out of there? That's Gaddafi's fail-safe, last resort option there, because it's going to be very difficult to get armor out of cities and that sort of thing. If he digs in and uses the cities as human shields against NATO airstrikes. So we could have a stalemate. We could have an opposition that we don't know much about. And there may be Al-Qaeda present in that opposition. There seems to be some indication of that. We got to be very careful here. There are many unintended consequences that could happen from this.
Ivan, if I can go to you, I mean, I'm the biggest cynic I know. I mean, by arming the rebels and with NATO air support, it's just a matter of time before you can pulverize down the Gaddafi regime. Though, as you pointed out earlier in the program, it could take a very long time and it could be very, very nasty, but it's a pride issue now, I suppose, for Mr. Obama. Isn't it by arming the rebels, the West, particularly the United States, is a major stakeholder in the future of the country's politics and economy and its oil?
Well, that's the old adage, if you break it, you've bought it. And I think we're breaking Libya right now. And I'd like to point out that even a partitioned country, even if it's not perfectly east and west, is better than what you had before with Gaddafi running everything. So I think if you could even hold it to that, people should be happy. Of course, the reality is that Obama, despite him saying that the goal is not to remove Gaddafi, on the ground, that's what's happening. And of course, anyone will tell you behind the scenes that is the goal. They're hoping by some miracle that his army will overthrow him or something like that. But I think that's remote as long as he makes battlefield gains like he did yesterday. I mean, you can have big-name defectors and that sort of thing, but I think he's going to win for a while because it takes time to train an army against him. And I'm not denigrating what the rebels have done. They've been surprisingly, and they have great spirit, but the problem is he's got people with military training, he's got mercenaries, and he's got heavy armor and artillery especially. And of course, you can only do so much in that unless you are armed. But the problem that we have in the United States is that it is a slippery slope, and you need to send trainers. If you're going to send him U.S. equipment, you need to send U.S. trainers, U.S. maintenance. All this has to be taught, and this is not done in a short period of time. So they better hurry up, or they're going to wipe out the rebels. Maybe, I don't know. Western air power can probably keep them out of Benghazi. It already did, but again, you're going to have this stalemate for a long time until you can get the rebel army trained up. But I think that if the rebels want to buy weapons and buy the training from some other countries, that's fine. But I would really not like to see the U.S. take the lead on that.
Providing most of the strikes,
I've been going Washington. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
The Qataris are paying for it. The Kuwaitis and the Qataris and Saudis are paying for it.
The U.S. is still providing most of the strikes, and they're also providing intelligence, tanking aircraft, AWACS aircraft, logistics and that sort of thing that no other air force has. Whenever you have a coalition effort like this,
many other countries
U.S.
as
is
well.
behind it. It has a NATO or whatever thing is on the podium when they give the briefing. It's U.S. driven and it's U.S. behind the scenes. The U.S. is letting the French take the lead on a certain response. But the number of French and British aircraft is, and the strikes they have are,
this is not Afghanistan or Iraq. This is a totally
it may turn into Afghanistan and it may turn into Iraq, and I think that's the major concern.